No Digital Billboards in San Jose is a coalition of residents, neighborhood groups, and preservation advocates. This presentation is an update about digital billboards and wayfinding kiosks and the community case against expanding digital outdoor advertising and ad-supported kiosks. This is the situation as far as we know. 3 new digital billboards are installed and running downtown. The others, downtown at the Convention Center and San Pedro Garage, are coming soon. Several other freeway-facing sites were approved, and they are moving through the last coordination steps with the city before installation. These will be the large signs on a pole you think of when you envision a billboard near a freeway. There are 3 more billboards planned for sites along Highway 101 on airport property adjacent to the Guadalupe River Trail that are at the proposal stage. Note that the city previously had a ban on new billboards for about 40 years, and one of the arguments for changing that policy was that a number of static billboards would be removed in exchange for allowing new digitals. Well, the first thing that happened was an exception for that policy. Not one billboard was removed in exchange for allowing the new downtown billboards. The contract with the advertising company, who controls the ad content, stipulates that at least 15% of the ad time would be for city use. The rest of the time is commercial advertising, and here are some examples. Recall that the Center for Performing Arts used to have a sign that advertised downtown events 100% of the time, and the sign at Almaden and San Carlos identified the building as the Center for Performing Arts. Now, from some angles, the building is blocked, and at least as of today, you see more association with the advertising company name than knowing this is a city cultural landmark. If you are on the plaza behind the billboard at the corner of Park Avenue, you're looking at a wall now. And on the content topic, we've raised the issue with the city whether it's appropriate to advertise sports betting on city property. The ad on the left was running at the same time the college basketball playoff games were happening at the SAP Center in San Jose. Here is what the billboard looks like on the 2nd and San Carlos garage. This is enormous, but that was the advertising company's plan. You can start to see this coming from many blocks away if you're coming towards San Jose State on San Carlos Street. Again, this billboard is running some ads for downtown museums and events, but most of the time there are a lot of AI ads and national brand ads. When you have a giant billboard at Almaden Boulevard, and then you proceed down San Carlos Street and you have another one, there's a cumulative effect. That's exactly what the advertising company wants. We've asserted that there's a lot going on here about changing the identity and street environment of downtown. You cannot miss these signs. If you love advertising, then you might love this. If you think there are better ways to create a welcoming and unique street environment, instead of turning us into Any Place USA with giant screens, then you have a different mindset. Now on to what the industry calls wayfinding kiosks. They tend to look like the photo on the left. That is about 8 feet tall. There's some irony that the same company that took away the Center for Performing Arts identification sign now wants us to believe we need their wayfinding kiosks to find the Center for Performing Arts. The slide on the right is from the City of San Jose's Office of Economic Development presentation last month. There are 7 bullet points. We'd suggest that a phone or static signs can serve the wayfinding function. This is not 20 years ago. We don't need Wi-Fi kiosks again since everyone has a phone. We don't need surveillance for pedestrian analytics, and it's doubtful that any resident has been asking the city to implement an air quality or temperature monitoring program. As far as revenue, the same city presentation cited peer cities, and among them Berkeley, and the amount of revenue each kiosk could generate. That's noted on the lower left as $27,000 per kiosk per year. This is an article from the publication Berkeley Side in October 2025, less than 6 months ago. They did an investigation and found that the actual revenue from each kiosk is closer to $5,000 and not the $27,000 the Office of Economic Development presentation cited. Furthermore, there are questions like, are these kiosks used by pedestrians? Are they really useful? There's an article from a 2025 publication called The Urbanist that cites data from the kiosk vendor for Atlanta, Detroit, and Miami, showing that there are only about 10 interactions per day per kiosk. And these cities have much higher average pedestrian traffic compared to our downtown. You can see the quotes from a Berkeley City Council member. She's questioning whether Berkeley made a mistake. Once a kiosk or billboard is installed, we are stuck with it for the contract period, which is often 10 to 15 years. These are some of the reasons why kiosks on sidewalks should be questioned. Consider that residents and neighborhood business associations are constantly dealing with vandalism and blight at bus stops and graffiti as well. We have streetlights that are missing or have been out for months or years. We have pedestrian crossing buttons that have not worked for years. We say, fix what's broken in the public right-of-way first before you even think about adding more new things, let alone 8-foot-tall digital screens. The city held a community meeting on this topic on April 21st, 2026. Announcements for this meeting said, we want to hear from you as we consider where these kiosks might go and what information they should share. The better questions are, should we proceed with this project and what are the trade-offs? If the city is going to continue to pursue this, our request is to take a step back. Make an objective decision matrix instead of promoting what sounds like a pitch from billboard lobbyists. The city's webpage for what they call the Downtown Digital Wayfinding Project is at the QR code link. Comments can be sent to the city staff email addresses noted. This slide is from the city's lobbyist reporting portal. Why do lobbyists contact people at City Hall? Because they always want something. Here, the lobbyist for Orange Barrel is advocating for digital billboards, kiosk expansion policies, and apparently to allow animation on digital billboards, which, by the way, is currently prohibited by city ordinance. The history of lobbying from outdoor advertising companies is really deep. Hundreds of contacts over recent years with council members and management level at the city, like the directors of economic development and planning and the city manager. Consider that this is really about a lot more than billboards. It's about a gap between what residents may want for downtown compared to the city's approach that often caters to special interests and visitors. There are more than 600,000 people within a 5-mile radius of downtown. We are the people who support downtown 24/7, 365. And our input should have standing when it comes to determining what happens on city property and along our streets and roads. We urge you to contact your city council member and city staff if you are opposed to expanding digital advertising in San Jose.